Hello and hello. Thank you very much for joining me today. How are you doing? I've been waiting to react to this video for a long time. Don't underestimate the German economy. I would never. With the amount of vehicles y'all produce over there, I would never underestimate it. But I'm curious. Economics Explained. I know this channel. It's a legendary channel. 2.56 million subscribers. Check them out, link down below. Let's see.
Germany is obviously an advanced economy, but it does modern economics just a little bit differently from everybody else, and that may be working to its advantage. While the world has been struggling, Germany has been on a slow but steady growth trajectory. On the surface, the country is not particularly remarkable.
You know, he said the world has been struggling, which is sort of interesting. I don't look at like the world GDP excluding like America and China and, you know, like Europe very much to have known, to be honest, that the world economy was struggling or, you know, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Slow but steady growth trajectory. On the surface, the country...
Of course, there's more to the economy than just the GDP, but...
The world has been struggling. Germany has been on a slow but steady growth trajectory. On the surface, the country is not particularly remarkable. Germany's not rich in natural resources, it's not a trading hub at the focal point of the world's oceans, and its population is large but not huge compared to most economic superpowers. Despite this apparent mediocrity though, Germany is the fourth...
I mean, okay. It's not like the population is small in Germany, it's pretty big. And its position in Europe is very good economically. But okay.
Largest economy in the world. And if current trends continue, it'll be the third largest by the end of the decade, overtaking the stagnating economy of Japan. It's also done...
Actually, I'm curious to see. Those are always very close, or have been very close for a while, you know. So I'm just looking up. Ooh, wow, it's close. And this is 2022. Ooh, I have to look up 2024. Or I guess 2023, since 2024 is not over yet, apparently. Apparently it's not. It's still going. Barely. Japan 4.21. Come on. Well, okay, here we go. I think this is the most recent data that I can find, at least. Nominally, Germany has overtaken Japan quite heavily, actually, by almost $500 million. So, yeah.
This, despite global and regional economic challenges, which have all impacted its closest peers and neighbours far more than it has Germany. That missing factor might be a unique form of economic management that Germany has championed over the last 70 years, which attempts to combine the best factors of capitalism, competition, the push for innovation, and the efficiency of the free market, with strong social policies that don't necessarily come at the expense of those factors, but actually complement them. It's hard to argue with all of Germany's success that this hasn't worked well in the country, and may work even better in other economies around the world. Unfortunately for Germany, a lot of the challenges it's...
I will say, it is interesting, like something I think about is that a country's, you know, economic success on the world stage as a country often does seem to come at the expense of like the people inside the country sometimes. At least like wealth distribution inside the country, I should say. And a lot of that has to do with social programs. Do you know what I mean? Like over in China, their GDP has exploded. And it's because they produce so many goods with very, very cheap labor. You know what I mean? At least that's the perspective I have of it.
It's facing right now are going to be much more difficult to manage its way around. The war in Ukraine, Brexit, and the global slowdown in demand for things like new cars are all specifically going to hurt Germany more than basically any other advanced economy around the world.
I didn't even think about that, you know. When the auto industry is struggling, Germany is struggling, huh?
So the next decade could be the ultimate test of if their unique style of economic management just had a lucky run, or if it really is something that we should be looking at in our own economies. And to know for sure, economists are going to need the answers to a few simple questions. What has been the driver of Germany's economic output? Has it really found the right
Cars.
balance of social protections and market efficiency? And finally, will these recent challenges push Europe's largest and most influential economy into economic stagnation? Once we've done all of that, we can put the fourth largest economy in the world on the Economics Explained national leaderboard.
Oh boy.
This episode of Economics Explained is brought to you by CuriosityStream. CuriosityStream is a platform offering unique, award-winning documentaries across a range of subjects: science, nature, history, technology, and more. Their subscription plan starts at less than $5 a month, providing access to a vast library of high-quality documentaries and series. You can enjoy CuriosityStream on various devices: your TV, computer, or mobile phone. I thoroughly enjoyed their deep space collection to expand my knowledge of the universe. In particular, Becoming Martian captivated me as it showcased how humans can adapt to life on Mars. With plans starting at under $5 a month, you can gain access to thousands of hours of high-quality documentaries and series. With both monthly and annual plans available, you can choose the plan that works best for you and your budget. Go to curiositystream.com/economicsexplained or scan the QR code for unlimited access to the world's top documentaries and non-fiction series. And for our fans, use promo code economicsexplained and you'll save 25% off. So click the link below or go to curiositystream.com/economicsexplained and save 25% right now. All advanced countries in the world today have very similar systems of economic management. They are primarily market-driven capitalist economies with a uniform list of government interventions like taxes, social welfare, common good investment, market controls, and international trade policies. All advanced economies have some form of taxation, which
It actually is kind of interesting how similar a lot of economies are nowadays, huh? There's not a whole lot of experimentation being done.
goes to indirectly fund everything the government does. And one of the biggest expenses is social welfare. This includes everything from paying people who can't find work to those who can't work due to disability, all the way to targeted welfare like child allowances. Welfare payments tend to fill more than one single economic objective. Primarily they're there to, make sure that people don't starve or have to resort to crime to support themselves. And that's obviously very important. But welfare is also an effective tool to control the economy. If consumer demand is slowing down, then upping welfare payments will increase it again, all other things being equal. Even things like declining birth rates can be influenced through welfare programs that help to reduce the cost of raising children in highly industrialised economies.
It seems like countries sometimes don't do, especially like over here in America, when I think of welfare and how a country funds welfare, you would think countries would heavily fund things that invest in their future workers. So education, incentivize people to have kids in the first place. So daycare, education, these kinds of things. College.
Some economies take this even further, like Poland, which is effectively paying people to have children because they know that their economy will end up much worse off if current population trends continue. We are going to make an entire video about that next month, so I don't want to spoil too much here, but make sure to subscribe to stay tuned for that one. But either way, it serves as a demonstration that taxes and welfare are as much about controlling the economy as they are about raising government revenue and making sure people are looked after. This is true of all advanced economies, no matter where you would place them on some arbitrary left-right wing spectrum. Yes, of course, some countries have lower taxes and less generous welfare, but all advanced economies still have them.
There's something funny to me about hearing low taxes. Taxes don't feel low over here in America. And that's something I have to, I'm going to look it up right now. Like, median tax rate by country. Is that a good search? I don't know. List of countries by tax rate? Okay. Obviously, there's lots of different tax rates, so that's a difficult, thing to exactly list. Highest marginal rate. Where is the US? So like the UK, 63.25%. Okay, it's pretty high. Japan, 55. And the US is right there. Like, it's really not that low. Well, I mean, that's in California. But, taxes, I don't know. I don't think they're very low over here in America. I think they all just go toward the military.
And they all use them to control supposedly free markets. Another thing that all advanced economies have in common is controls on how market participants conduct themselves. If someone agrees to pay someone else $10,000 to build a fence around their house, then the government should have systems
$10,000 for a fence?
In place to ensure that that deal is honoured. If the homeowner tries not to pay, then the fence builder should have systems available to them to get their money without having to resort to violence. On the flip side, if the fence builder strings up a totally useless fence made out of duct tape and bamboo, the homeowner shouldn't be forced to pay. Without controls like this in place, even an economic action as simple as putting up a fence could be very difficult to achieve. Since advanced economies run off cooperation between massive companies working on projects...
It is really fascinating when you think about how to structure a country in the first place and the laws to facilitate economic actions like that and honest actors within the economic system. And clearly, there's a lot of corruption that, gets through the cracks in the current systems. And most of it's like an optimistic style system where, no one's checking a contract unless there's a dispute. That's sort of interesting about it. Anyway.
That can sometimes last for years or decades, it's vital that issues like this can be resolved quickly and fairly. Otherwise, the industries that are responsible for adding all of the value...
Like if a court had to look at every single contract, including, just something like I said, putting up a fence, and make sure both parties fulfilled their obligation, man, that would be a nightmare.
...to our modern world just wouldn't be able to function. Again, even the biggest advocates of free enterprise and free markets recognise the importance of these systems, and again, all advanced economies have them. Another common feature between all advanced economies is a strong focus on making investments into projects that benefit the common good. This can be infrastructure that lets industries and individuals conduct their business, or it can be things like education and defence. Nobody would willingly pay to build a highway that anybody could use, or spend their money on a military that keeps everyone safe if they had a choice, because either someone else will pay for it and they've saved themselves some money, or nobody will pay for it and they would have been better off buying those services for themselves exclusively. Goods and...
Right. That's why I do find it kind of funny. There is like this thing over here in America where it's like, I'm supposed to be mad at Amazon for not paying their fair share of taxes. And I'm not mad at Amazon. I'm mad at the loopholes, the failures of the politicians and the systems to allow places like Amazon, corporations like Amazon. I'm not trying to pick on Amazon in particular. I'm just saying the system is to blame. Of course the corporation's not going to pay the tax. You think they're going to just pay the taxes, their fair share? They're not. They don't care.
Services like a defence force and roads.
All they care about is keeping as much money for themselves as possible. And I don't even say that in like a mean way. It's just that is what it is. That's why you need, regulations.
Are what economists call non-exclusionary, as in anybody can use them regardless of how much they contribute towards them, but they normally all still have massive economic value. Taxes, social welfare, common good investment, market controls, and international trade controls are all common features of all advanced economies.
I'm sorry, but I have to continue my rant a little bit because there's been a lot of it ever since, inflation was a really big deal over here and around the world. I know it was in Germany, over here in America, around the world, inflation ever since governments spent trillions of dollars after the pandemic and everything during it. And even politicians would be like I've seen Joe Biden tweet multiple times, I condemn the corporations who are raising prices. You need to lower them. I'm like, you guys are the ones in charge. You need to put the policies in place to make it, why would they lower the prices just on their own accord if they're going to make less money doing that?
And the reason we have looked at them in such detail here is because it's important to show that successful economies all run in much the same way, with far more similarities than differences. The reason that this is so important when exploring a country like Germany is because it shows that once all of this is managed effectively, a country's circumstances have much more of an impact on what an economy looks like than even most economists would like to admit. Countless times on this channel, we have mentioned Norway as an example of a perfect economy, which is mostly just a joke. Yes, of course, Norway is a very prosperous economy with extremely high standards of living and a strong social
Beautiful country too, man.
welfare system, but anybody that's actually watched the video from all the way back before I knew how to use Adobe Premiere will know that it's only really been able to offer a lot of these economic luxuries because it's sitting on huge reserves of fossil fuels and hasn't felt the need to turn those oil profits into man-made islands. Comparing the way that a small, oil-rich country like Norway chooses to fine-tune these controls when compared to a
That is a really fortunate thing, huh? It's kind of it's a fascinating thing to me. Just the fact that some countries happen to be super rich in natural resources, and that is really great for their economy.
Much larger, more diverse, and less specifically resource-rich country like the USA is not exactly fair. Norway could choose to spend more on social welfare without taxing as much and just fill in the difference with revenues from drilling rights in its state-owned oil company. Now, specifically for Germany, the question of how to balance these controls is really important. The good news is that any economy where the biggest economic debate is how to fine-tune these factors is normally doing pretty well. Take economy A and economy B as an example. They both have roughly the same landmass and a population of around 85 million people, give or take. Economy A has these economic controls in place, and successive governments are either re-elected or voted out, based largely on how they manage these controls. Economy B, on the other hand, applies these controls pretty haphazardly, but it has some of the largest reserves of natural resources in the world. All other things being equal, Economy B should be larger, but if you haven't guessed by now, these are actually real economies.
Is it Germany and what would that be? Saudi Arabia? How many people live there?
Germany and Iran, respectively.
Iran.
Based purely on the advantages they started with, Iran should be a much larger economy, but it's actually 10 times smaller than Germany.
Wow.
So it really matters that an economy has these systems in place, but once they do, they should be doing okay.
It does show you just how important governments are and the structures of the government. Man, it's wild, huh?
Germany's specific approach to this balance is something called Rhine capitalism. The economy of Germany as we know it today has only really existed for 33 years. Before that, it was split east and west for almost half a century, with the Soviet-controlled region in the east and the capitalists in the west.
American flag. It's crazy how quick stuff changes, huh?
But even before reunification, West Germany's economy was run by something that has come to be known by economists as Rhine capitalism. This is still a free market system where most industry is performed by private enterprise with a profit motive, and people work hard to get paid more so they can buy more, but there are a lot more interventions than we would typically find in more free markets like the USA or the UK, which is one of Germany's closest peers. Initially, it's believed that one of the main factors promoting this system was the need to make workers happy with a free market system as Europe was being divided up between the socialists and the capitalists. Rhine capitalism was a compromise that made sure that workers were still looked after and benefited from the market system, so they didn't get any idea about seizing the means of production or any of that nonsense. That, however, does not mean that Rhine capitalism or any social market economy is socialist, and I get how that's confusing, but it's actually not that difficult. Germany's strong workers' protections and welfare policies are all in place to support its market system. Germany may not be flush with natural resources, but it has an incredibly well-educated population, which has helped to build out all of the world-leading companies that have become much more valuable and much more sustainable global exports.
See, that's kind of what I mean, what I was referring to earlier, like investing in education for your population. It's like the most obvious thing you should do for your country. What a great use of money. A great use. As long as you believe in those people, you know what I mean, and believe that they can be educated. It's kind of an insult if you don't.
These companies include the obvious world-famous automobile and sportswear manufacturers, but it also, perhaps even more importantly, includes a lot of other companies that are responsible for building the capital investments of our modern global economy. Capital in economics is just the stuff that makes stuff, and Germany is full of businesses.
Why did I not know Bosch was a German company? I'm kind of embarrassed to say that. Did I? I guess I never thought about it. I probably would have thought it was an American company if you asked me. Bosch is a German company. That's pretty cool. I'm looking at their logo. Oh, their logo's right there. I'm so stupid. I actually don't recognize that logo at all. This like little, it looks like a dumbbell in a circle. That's why I was looking it up. I was like, what even is Bosch's logo?
Like Bosch, Siemens, SAP and ThyssenKrupp that build the tools that every other economy around the world uses to build the stuff that we as consumers consume. Germany also has a lot of highly technical small and medium enterprises, which benefit more than they are hindered from the country's unique brand of capitalism. Starting a business is very difficult without some kind of safety net to fall back on. The comfort that people are well looked after in the German system means that workers are both more likely to start a business and also more likely to be willing to work for a smaller, riskier company. Despite some people mistaking the German system for some...
I love that. I think that's an awesome thing to facilitate in a country, starting small businesses. It feels like over here in America, that's like part of the American dream, the small business, and I feel like that has really kind of like died out. People, it's just really hard to start a small business. There's still plenty of small businesses, but I don't know. You know, with Walmart and everything taking over, it's definitely feels more difficult than ever.
Kind of diet socialism. Berlin is widely considered to be the startup capital of Europe, and a lot of those businesses will one day be the global companies driving the development of the German economy. A heavy focus on making their people as productive as possible, even if it was originally just to stop them from changing to Team Red, has today given Germany a very strong economic foundation. The country has smart workers and it holds its companies to very high standards, so it benefits from the reputation that has built for it. People assume that everything designed and made in Germany is of higher quality than stuff made almost anywhere else in the world.
The world's most respected made-in labels. That's cool. Made in Germany. Made in the European Union. I don't think I've ever seen that label, to be frank. Made in USA is here at number 10. That's still pretty good, I guess. Not a lot of stuff made in the USA anymore either.
If a random person was asked what Germany is best known for today, engineering would probably be right up there with beer and big pretzels. Even if German goods aren't necessarily...
All wonderful things. Wonderful things. I think you guys should be very proud. Beer, pretzels, and engineering. That's pretty cool.
Of high quality, people are willing to pay a premium for them, and that alone is more valuable to the economy than any natural resource ever will be. But that doesn't mean that the German economy has had it easy. In fact, quite the opposite. It's had almost endless challenges. The reunification of Germany was perhaps one of the most difficult economic procedures ever performed.
Man.
The challenge was combining the two very different economies and bringing the East up to speed without slowing down the West, that was by this point doing very well for itself. Early on, despite best efforts, the West boomed as the East fell even further behind because existing competitive companies in the West were able to buy up plants and equipment as they were privatised after previously being owned and controlled by the socialist states. The West...
So who profited from the sale of those companies that were going private? Like, who did they buy them from? The state?
Also got access to more workers. Anybody with any skills could earn a lot more in the existing industries in the West, so as many as 500,000 Germans would commute back and forth every day to work there instead.
Wow.
The rapid growth in the West, mixed with the increase in the money supply caused by linking the two economies, in addition to the extreme cost of transitioning the economy of the East, started to cause inflation and forced the German central banks to raise interest rates to slow the economy down until everything normalised. Even today, East Germany has still not fully caught up with the West, and up until around 2008, this difficult economic situation earned Germany the title the sick man of Europe. After 2008, when almost every other advanced...
You know, I mean, it's not like even over here in America, obviously, most of the states are nowhere near as big economic powerhouses. We're not contributing, for instance, the one I live in, Indiana, is not contributing a whole lot to our national GDP compared to New York. So, I mean, yeah. It's never going to be totally equal just geographically across an entire country. It's going to depend a lot on where the biggest cities are.
Advanced economy in Europe suffered far worse through the GFC and the following Eurozone crisis. Most people dropped that nickname. Through this all, Germany has been able to rely on its massive export industries to keep everything operating. But it's now facing a new round of challenges, with global trade becoming more fragmented and a slowdown of consumer spending and business investment into all the goods and services that Germany has become famous for. But if there is any economy in the world that can ride out disruptions like these, Germany has surely proven itself to be a top contender. If you're a German viewer watching this video, our German research team has been working on a new German Economics Explained channel. They're starting out by translating some of our most popular videos, but if you all show them enough support, they hope to start making videos exclusive to the German economy as well. I'm personally not even going to try and pronounce the channel name, but we will
Wirtschaftswissen.
leave a link to it on screen and in the video description below. Okay, now it's time to put Germany, the 4th largest economy in the world, on the Economics Explained
Now the 3rd. Oh man, where does it go? Where does it go?
national leaderboard.
I mean, they're clearly not ranked by size. It's like how effective it is, I guess. I don't know. Where does it go? I don't know. Number 4? Number 2? 3? I don't know.
4th largest economy in the world on the Economics Explained national leaderboard. Starting as always with size, Germany has a GDP of 4.26 trillion US dollars, putting it just behind Japan and just ahead of the UK as the 4th largest economy in the world. It's still a significant gap between these countries and the true economic superpowers of China and the USA, so Germany gets a 9 out of 10. GDP per capita is very strong, thanks to the emphasis that Germany as a country has put on maximising the quality of its workers. Despite being a large economy with a diverse industrial base, Germany still boasts a GDP per capita of $51,204, which puts it ahead of the UK and only behind its truly outstanding European peers like Iceland, Norway and Switzerland, which are all much smaller and more focused around specific industries. Germany gets an 8 out of 10. Stability and confidence is high, but not perfect. Germany, for better or worse, has become the unofficial capstone of the European Union. And while the collective economic region provides many advantages, it also means that a lot of individual national problems become a problem for anybody. That, combined with the German economy's heavy reliance on exports, means that it only gets an 8 out of 10. But to be clear, that's still a very strong score. Growth has been slow but steady.
I like stuff like this, arbitrarily rating things like this, like, where's it going?
Despite all the economic challenges it has had to contend with, the German economy is now around 20% larger than
I mean, it's not totally arbitrary, but
it was a decade ago. Certainly not strong growth by any means, but a lot better than a lot of other European countries that are going nowhere or even going backwards. Germany gets a 4 out of 10. Finally, industry. Germany has dozens of world-leading companies at the cutting edge of what they do. The country has built a reputation that lets it add value to products just by having it made within the country's borders. What's more is that it doesn't have the same overdependence on a small group of massive companies as countries like South Korea, which also had a similarly strong export economy. Germany gets a 10 out of 10. Altogether, that gives Germany an average score of 7.8 out of 10, which puts them all the way up here on the Economics Explained national leaderboard.
that's pretty good. That's very good. The EU. I think that's weird it's on this list just because it's not a country, you know? But anyway, that was really fascinating. I loved that video. Economics Explained. I love diving into the economies of these different countries, and in particular Germany. Very fascinating. That was really awesome and very well made. Go check out their channel if you haven't already. I woke up today and decided to underestimate Germany's economy, but this video set me straight. As a German, I can confirm that every German had a shiver running down their spine when you pronounced the word ThyssenKrupp. The real challenge is keeping a manufacturing-based economy going when energy prices went through the roof and companies are better off leaving the country. Yeah. Oh, man. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. If anybody's even still here. I mean, it's been 30 minutes. Dang. I'll see you guys tomorrow.